Hey, hey, hey. Okay, so the message or the words of the day. I have a quote for you and I want to elaborate on it. It is better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. Now, let's say it again and then let's think about it. Let's process it. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Now, I don't want to use the term or say the war of life because I don't necessarily think that we have to see life as a war because that's just got so much darkness and negative tones to it. But we do know that we experience battles and pain and strife in life, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Usually when you're in the garden, it's sunny and pretty and whatever, you're growing life, right? And war is fighting and battles and blood and horror, you know. You're doing, well, if you're per se maybe in long time past, you would be a warrior fighting in a war for good, protection. But we're digressing here, and that's not the point. So, my point here, and this is where I was getting at, and something I believe strongly in our world, is it's better, first and foremost, let's actually just start with like the warrior itself. If you define it, a warrior is skilled, is experienced, is trained, of course, in fighting. But if you think about it, a warrior of life, to be skilled and trained and wise and knowledgeable, first starting with yourself, knowing thyself, having a solid relationship with yourself and your source, your creator, God, whatever, however you term that, for your connections to your source, the creator that created you, God, however you want to put that. I really like that is, I believe, our first and foremost and primary relationship is the one we have within ourselves. And, I believe we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. So we're spiritual. We come from source. We come from God. So therefore, God and us are not separate per se. That's my take on it. So digest that as you will or as you need to. But when you have a solid relationship with yourself, you should also thus then be having a solid relationship with your creator, your source. So when you are like, how would that look then? We're knowledgeable within ourselves. We have skills. We're experienced. We're wise in our own wisdom, knowing our own truths. This correlates. Got a baby in the background. So this correlates with I guess you could say going through those struggles in life, that hard stuff in life, those battles, because the conversation I was having today with a priest that I was my priest growing up, and we were talking about a particular topic, and he was saying, like, in regards to this topic, that like that's the oldest trick in the book kind of thing, that there are people out there who are narcissists, who are psychopaths, and who can see and know within a person what their weaknesses are, so they feed off of them to get close to them, so they get what they want, so to speak, like a predator kind of thing, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. They know how to disguise themselves. They know how to pick up on your cues of the things that you need and are desperate for, that you might not be aware of because you're just superficially half-assed living it. Okay, so that's going to get me into the concept of know thyself, have a relationship within yourself. So these predators, these monsters lurking out there, the narcissists or the psychopaths or whatever term you want to con it or put next to it, they can't swindle you so easily, and some are so good that you're not always going to get past them all. or safeguard yourself from them all, but at least you could hopefully safeguard yourself from a lot of them. And like, this is something near and dear and very important. I think we need to really truly work on our knowledge and our wisdom and our skills. I mean, us as adults, if you're an adult and you're seeing this, like, we can personally do that. As parents, we need to help our children and raise our children to know that there are predators lurking, there are narcissists, there's psychopaths, there's all these different character disturbances out there, and people aren't all genuine and good. And even within ourselves, we have certain levels of narcissism. The book that I got referred to today was Narcissism, Denying of the True Self, or something along that line. I'm going to look into it and read it, because obviously I'm all about wisdom and gaining knowledge to understand myself better and understand the world better that I live in, because I have experienced terrible, atrocious people, and we will probably continue to experience them all throughout our lives. But if we have the tools in the warrior way, we safeguard ourselves and we armor ourselves with knowledge and wisdom and skills to protect ourselves, to protect our children, to raise our children upright, to be, well, this is actually beautiful, because I have a son, his name is William Michael, and that's strong-willed warrior of God. It's on his tombstone. He passed away, he was stillborn. So I guess we're called to be warriors of God. Warriors of love, let's put it. Protecting ourselves and the innocence of the world. So with all that, being said, is be that warrior in the garden, not necessarily fighting the war, but it's better to be that warrior in the garden, because if you're a gardener in the war, you don't have the skill and the knowledge and the training to survive, to safeguard yourself, to protect your lands, to protect those you love. We don't want that ignorance. We don't want that superficial way of being. Not to say that a gardener is per se ignorant, but in a war, most definitely the gardener is ignorant, because a gardener doesn't understand the tactics of war. And I guess I won't even get into, like, we would just totally be breaking it down way too much to say, like, what does a warrior know in the garden? But it's like, it's safer, it's better to be, because that's the saying, it's better to be the warrior in the garden instead of a gardener in a war. I can speak onto this so much. I was the gardener in the war. I, in my naive ways, my ignorance, wanted to believe in the good in people, and that what I gave is what I would receive back, and thinking that people are genuine, or just totally missing that the writings on the wall, so to speak. Being so desperate and needy per se, that not filling my own needs and my own voids and looking for someone else. I mean, it's okay that we desire companionship, but we shouldn't be so desperate for companionship in any sense of the reality, that we're willing to settle, that we're willing to go so fast and not take things slow. That can be that can be in intimate relationships, friendships, business, all the ways. All the ways. Even in our personal relationship within ourselves, not taking time for ourselves, not being disciplined with ourselves. That's like digressing just a little bit too much. And I want you to, because for me, I will be continuing to digest and evolve off of this concept of the warrior in the garden. For me, it's just definitely educate myself as much as I can to who and what I am and what my needs are, and making sure I fulfill my needs, and also knowing that to surrendering that naiveness, that believing in the good and the people that I come across, because not everybody has good, loving intentions. So that's why better to be the warrior, skilled and trained and experienced in knowledge, to fight these battles that we come up against, or to safeguard ourselves from those tyrants who seek to destroy. I think that's just like the biggest picture, without having to continue to repeat over and over. And I have little Miss Stella here who's kind of distracting me. Say hello. So we're gonna call it kosher, but for yourself, digest on the warrior in the garden instead of the gardener in the war, and make sure you are safeguarding yourself and educating yourself, and not choosing denial in the easy route, because sometimes truth of this world is really hard and really challenging, because not everybody does have loving intention. So we have to know, we have to know, we have to have those skills, we have to have that knowledge, that wisdom to fight those battles. Be a warrior of love. Love yourself, love your neighbor, but know that predators can be lurking. Okay, have a blessed day.